Okay, Debbie, I gotta say, I didn't know for sure whether Sarah had what it took to pull the trigger like that and turn on her whole alliance, but she did, and that's why you're sitting here today. What do you think of Sarah's game move?
Well, Marcus, it's a game where the objective is to eliminate your opponent, so I always have to say, well done to somebody who, takes somebody else out. At the end of the day, for me, there's no hard feelings. It's a game. That is the objective. And do I wish I would have made the move on her? You bet. But she made it first.
And of her group of 6, this wasn't too clear on TV, but why were you the target? Why not Sierra? Why not Brad?
Well, if I could answer it honestly, I would. The truth is I don't know, and I've never asked anybody that. But perhaps it's because it would have been too predictable to make it Brad or Sierra, one or both of whom could have had an idol. So for me, who was kind of, potentially being caught off guard, I suppose it made sense in that it was unexpected.
That's a good point. And it looks like in the episode, Sierra was promising Sarah that there would be a final 3 between those two and you. Were you aware of that conversation, that you were going to be in this final 3 with Sarah and Sierra?
Yes, I was patently aware of that conversation, which took place many, many times, pretty much initiated, though, by Sarah, who, swore up and down on this, on that, on everything under the sun, again, which most of us do out there, that she also wanted that to be her final 3. But honestly, Marcus, if you could watch 24/7, every single person out there in every combination would come up as somebody's final 3. He had the intentions of sticking with Sierra Dawn to the end, and that was cool to hear. So I don't know about Sarah.
Well, if you had known you were the target and you were given the chance to scramble, what kind of scrambling would you have done? Who could you have gone to try to sway their vote and say, look, voting me out is a bad decision?
The person that I wish I would have had a more in-depth conversation with was Zeke, because Zeke had already, had a big fracture with Andrea, and it wouldn't have been hard to convince Zeke to stick with wanting to take out Andrea, especially since they had a pretty combative and volatile spat back at camp. I mean, you got to see a little bit of it, but this went on and on and on. And got quite, it got a little vociferous there for a while. So I wish I would have really talked to Zeke more extensively. But had I known at Tribal, I would have made my pitch to Zeke, hey, stick with Andrea because she's gunning for you. If it's me, it's you next, would have been my pitch.
And speaking of Zeke, you were a member of that insane tribal council where Jeff Varner, outed Zeke for being transgender. Do you remember what was going through your mind when all of that craziness was happening?
Honestly, Marcus, exactly what you did see. There the edit was 100%. As soon as those words left Varner's mouth, I turned around and said, that was not for you to say. And that is exactly how I feel. Look, we're playing a game, and we all know the rules, and that is there are no rules. But I mean that in the sense of playing a strategic game. When you're playing chess, you don't get to pick up a knife and stab your opponent because he's winning the game.
Right.
Not in the rules of chess. In Survivor, you don't get to punch somebody in the solar plexus because they're beating you at a challenge. There's certain things we don't get to do, and there's certain lines that we don't get to cross, and I do believe that Varner crossed it. as do some other people who have done things just to not to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, I do think that Wanner is a human being, that everybody has done things they wish that they could take. I believe that the crucifixion of Jeff Wanner should be over and done, and these vile, give it a rest now, because everybody did stupid stuff out there. Everybody wishes it could be taken back. Everybody has things that they would like to change about their life. Maybe it's just not on national television.
And switching gears here, Debbie, one of the moments that just really stood out, this is one of the reasons that people love you so much, is at the merge feast when you pretended to get drunk and lighten the mood with everybody. It was such a fun moment. I wish there were more of those on Survivor.
I'm sorry, what was the second part? But that was sweet. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I was saying it's such a fun moment, and I wish we had more lighter moments like that on Survivor. What was your mindset for kind of playing the drunk person in that scene?
And you know what, Marcus? That's what I remember liking about you. I think you're one of the few people that hasn't played but has a really good insight into how hard it is out there. Usually in a season, they show a clip of people breaking down, crying. It's so hard. It is so hard. This is a 24/7 production with deprivation, starvation, provocations, disingenuousness at every turn, sleep deprived. So if I'm somebody's comic relief, fine. But being somebody who has never drank, and not because I'm in AA, I just don't like alcohol, or the feeling that something is altering the way, I am. I don't need it, don't like it. But people start talking when they're drinking. And you know what I start to hear? Hey, Brad and Ty, do you think they got idols? Do you think they're getting immunity? Do you think they got a special advantage? So all I was really doing by lightening the mood and yeah, okay, I'll drink with you, it's just getting information about who the next person was going to be to throw out Brad or Sierra's name to me. And, of course, it came up again and again and again. Do I want to lighten the mood when everybody's sitting around and this sucks and we're hungry? Yeah, because it is really brutal to play Survivor at every level. It is.
I have thought about playing the game before, but I don't know if I could handle it, Debbie. I don't know if I could do that.
It was one of the things when my kids came to me and told me they made this show like Lord of the Flies, which I will add meets Gilligan's Island, or, the Love Boat sometimes. I always wonder how people reacted under tremendous pressure. And now throw in $1 million. Let's never forget that that's in the back of a lot of, or the forefront of people's minds. What do you do under that kind of stress? And then to have it filmed constantly, sometimes you're very proud of yourself. And just like real life, sometimes you wish you would have done things different. I mean, the difference in Survivor is it's on national television. So, Marcus, I do the best I can. That's all I can do.
Let's talk about Exile Island. A lot of fans loved the twist that Exile was, something positive. But do you think maybe you got too many advantages? There's the food, there's the comfort of obviously Cochran, and the extra vote. Is that too much for Survivor? No, my God, Marcus, that's life. And Survivor's actually a microcosm of life. Look, some people get born and they look like Marilyn Monroe or Cindy Crawford, and some people get born and they can actually play the violin like Mozart, or and then some people are born and they are at the shallow end of the gene pool. So Survivor in that way mimics life. You never know what's coming. And, some people are born trust fund babies with $250 million waiting on their 18th birthday. And I just got lucky. It was the luck of the draw. Too much? Nah. No, I deserved it, Marcus.
I love that.
Cochran gave you some really great advice, and you heeded that advice and apologized to Brad. Have you heard anything from Cochran since your elimination? I know it was just last night, but has Cochran spoke about how he thought you did after, he gave you that advice?
I haven't, other than the other people that I've spoken to who said, Cochran said it was a genuine, mutual, nice meeting. He liked my gameplay. I liked his. We were both kind of goofy people. No, I have not heard from him, but it was a good experience. I know for my part, respect him, like him, and I think that he enjoyed it as well.
Well, he's a great winner, and who do you think? Well, not who do you think. Who do you want to win this season? If you could personally root for somebody and write your own check for $1 million to one of the remaining 10 people, who would it be?
It would have to be Sierra Dawn, because I think it isn't shown enough how much she was instrumental in taking out a lot of key players. She was the one that pushed for, a lot of these huge threats, especially the huge male threats, to go. She's very hardworking. She's a pleasure to be around. She rarely goes negative on people with the name calling, doesn't swear on mom, dad, kids' life, that she won't backstab you. So I just really like her personally, her work ethic. And, I'd love to hand her a check for $1 million.
Well, we will see what happens here in the final few episodes. Thanks for talking with us, Debbie, and we will see you at the reunion show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.